Hello and welcome to a Friday Night Funkin' tutorial series where I will be showing from beginning to end on making your own Friday Night Funkin' mod. Except music, I'm not a musician. First off, you'll need an art and animation program. I recommend Adobe Animate or Flash CX6 as both use vector line art and can export sprite sheets with the right XMLs for Friday Night Funkin'. For this video, I will be using Adobe Animate, and I'll try to speak as if you've never touched Adobe Animate in your life, and will try my best to explain things. Here we are in Adobe Animate, and to start off, we're going to press Create New. Wait for the menu to pop up. We're going to press HD to make sure it's 1280 by 720, and make sure the frame rate is 24 FPS. Make sure it's ActionScript 3.0. Doesn't really matter, but you just want to make sure, and then you want to press Create. Now here's our canvas, here's our timeline, the library, and our tools that we need to use. It may not be the same for you, but maybe you'll find them in Window, and you'll be able to see everything here. You'll be able to select anything you need. Now, selecting this is our classic brush tool. Press B, and you'll be able to use it. The recommended size is 9, while you might want to have pen pressure on. Now you can draw to your heart's content or whatever. This isn't a boundary either. You can actually draw outside of it if you're making something bigger than it needs to be. Bigger than like the stage camera. Really good for using backgrounds. Now, to start off, we're just going to create a simple little man and a simple little idol. We're going to create a little head. And with this head, we're going to go to Selection Tool, and we're going to select him. Then, you're going to want to right click, press Convert to Symbol, and here we have symbols. Symbols are objects that you can reuse over and over again and contain their own layers and their own little information to be able to create parts of a character. Now, we're going to create a graphic symbol, and we're going to name it Billy Head. Now we have Billy's little head here. Now, press right click it again, convert to symbol and not bitmap, and we're going to name it Billy Idol. Now that we have Billy Idol, we can check our library and we can see both of them here. Now, there's a difference. If I were to go into Billy Idol, you can see we have everything here, and we also have Billy's head symbol in here, creating this little hierarchy right here. Now, let's create a little face for him. In the Billy Idol, we want to create a new layer with this button right here, a box with a plus on it. Select the brush tool. Let's just give him a simple little face. There we go. We have Billy with a simple little face. Now, we're going to turn that into a symbol by selecting the layer, then click on the face, right click it, convert the symbol. We're just going to name it Billy Face. And you can see it shows up in our little hierarchy. Billy's head is his head, and Billy Idol contains his head and his face. So now Billy has a silly little face. We're just going to move it to right here, and we're going to continue. We're going to make a new layer, drag it to the bottom of layer 1. It's good to name your layers too, so we're going to name it Billy Head. Yes. Billy Face. Spelled it wrong. And then we're going to name this Billy Body. And we're going to select the draw brush. We're going to go over here. We're just going to give him a simple little body. We're going to draw it. We're going to move it. And then we are just going to close it off by drawing a little overlap here. There we go. Hit the eraser tool to mess up any edges that you did. to smooth it out a little bit. Another way is by going here and selecting the selection tool. And right after you erase your little mistakes, I'm gonna come over here, select little area, head to properties, and you'll see smoothen. Use smoothen very carefully as you can mess up a lot of things by doing it. Usually what I do is I press smooth, smooth, undo, smooth, smooth. It usually fixes the problem and makes it look nicer without messing too much with it. Come over here, select it, smooth, smooth, undo, smooth, smooth. And now we can come to the edge and pull out a little bit. And now we have a little body for Billy. Now, Billy's head is looking a little bit crooked. We're going to right click his head, transform, free transform. And we're just going to rotate it with this. This is the origin. Move the origin down and straight to the center. And rotate his head. And move it up a little bit. There we go. Same with Billy's face. Now notice when you click on it, you'll still be in transformation mode, which is sometimes a good thing. Rotate it a little bit, and there we go. But we want Billy to be colorful. We don't want him to be see-through. Because if we go to our stage right here and select any color, whoa, he's see-through. We don't want that. So we're going to change the stage selection to gray real quick, just in case we ever use white. Now, we're going to convert Billy's body into a symbol real quick. Billy, body. Now, we're going to go into his head, and we're going, as you can see, it has its own little layers. Now, when I go here, select any color you want, but I'm just going to select pure white, and I'm going to use the bucket tool to fill in on Billy's head. Now, Billy's head is fully colored in, and if we go to our library, we can see it is colored in, and we can bring it back anytime we want, and use it multiple times. Press undo, Control Z to undo all of that. Then we go into the body, click off of it, use selection tool, fill it in. And as you can see, his face is also his own little area, but we don't need to fill it in. He's already perfect that way. Now we have little Billy's body, we have little Billy's face. Let's give Billy an arm. Now we're going to create Billy an arm. Hit your B to open your classic brush and give him a little arm. But whoops, we accidentally did that on the wrong layer. But as you can see, his body is an object. It is a symbol, so it immediately goes above our arm. Let's fix that. Right click it, hit cut, hit a new layer, so it's underneath the head, but it's above his body. Right click, paste in place. And there we go. Now we have a silly little arm, and you can reposition it however you like. But I'm going to keep it right here. We're going to right click it, convert to a symbol, and we're just going to name it Billy's left arm. Even though it's right, I just say left because it's on its left side. Now, open it up by double clicking it. But we can't fill it in, you might be saying. There's no closed off area. Well, to do this, here's a little trick I like to do for shading as well as filling in edges. Hit Y on your keyboard to open up your brush tool, but not brush tool, it's actually your pencil tool. I like setting the stroke size to 1 and set smoothing to 0, so you can do whatever. Adobe likes to mess with it though, but I don't know how to fix that, I'm sorry. But what you're going to do on the same layer, you want to draw a little area connecting both ends. You want to make sure it does by going into it a little bit. Don't worry. I'm going to go here to our normal color, select white, fill it in. To change the color of your pencil tool, down here, the color under this big one right here, this one right here, select it to whatever color you want. I like selecting it to the bright green. Now, to get rid of it now, want to use your selection tool, select everything. Then you'll see stroke in your properties object menu. Hit that, then hit this line strike through option. Now you will have it gone and you'll have your still white outline there, your white fill. Click out of it, and now it looks as if he has an arm. Ain't that nice for Billy? Now, we're also going to create Billy a microphone hand. We're going to go hit B, change his color back to black, and we're going to create a new layer under his body. We're going to zoom in, and we're going to create Billy a little arm here for him to hold the microphone. Remember, use the eraser tool to fix any mistakes or smooth off edges, and use selection tool to smooth it out. Smooth, smooth, undo, smooth, smooth, undo, smooth, smooth. Now, we're going to hit right click, transform, free transform, and we're going to reposition his arm so it's like this. And now he has a little hand sticking out, but it doesn't seem quite right. So let's click on it. Let's squish it a little bit. Can use this to move left, right, up, down, squish it however you like. But if you want it to be more uniform, right click it, hit transform, scale, and you'll be able to scale it uniformly without messing with it too much. Now we're going to put the arm right under here. We're going to select his head color to make sure it's white. And we're going to fill it in. Remember, don't forget to click the layer, click him, right click, and convert it to a symbol. We're going to name it Billy Mic Hand. Now, we can open up Billy's mic hand, and we have this beautiful little hand. We're going to make a new layer, and we're just going to put it right under his microphone hand. And we're going to create him a simple little microphone. Go in, and press B for your brush tool, or select it, and just create him a little microphone. Whoops, I accidentally undid, so let me just put the layer back. And now continue drawing and making a little microphone. Now, before you start adding lines to it, you might want to add color to it first. But one way I like to do it is by opening up BF and sourcing the same color of the microphone onto any little other microphone. But for this one, we're just going to give Billy a nice little pastel microphone right here. Press the bucket tool. I'm just going to fill it in. But we can't fill in this one. Remember, it's on a different layer. So you can use the pencil tool to fill it in. Unhide it, and then have a little microphone. Then on the microphone layer, make sure draw little lines for him. There we go. Now Billy has a simple little microphone. Close off this area under the layer. You don't need to use the pencil tool every time. Not if the present layer doesn't see it. And boom, we have Billy's little hand with a little microphone. And now if we go back, Billy has a silly little microphone. But it seems like his hand isn't really showing it all that much. But so let's actually make his hand longer. On the layer of his hand, we're going to hit transform, free transform, and we're just going to stretch it. But now it looks all egg, so let's just redraw the hand. I'm sorry. Hide the microphone layer, go to the top layer and let's just draw Billy a new hand. Don't forget to make the line color back to black. Don't make the same mistake I do. But you can always fix it like that. Remember, fill it in with white. Unhide your microphone layer, and we can select all of it by clicking the layer, clicking him, moving it, and now you can do that. Now his microphone's a little bit more out, and he looks like he's ready to funk. Well, now he's all symbols. Now he's all here. So let's animate him now. Go here. This is your timeline. Go here, click the very top one under 10, and scroll down if you have more layers. But we have just the amount of layers where we don't need to do that. Hold shift and click the bottommost one, bar. Press F6, or F5 I should say, to extend it. So now we have 9 frames, but he's not doing anything. First, let's give him some origin points. Click on him, right click on him, and hit free transform. And select his origin point and move it to the bottom of him. Or move it to where the bones would be. But for the body, the bottom of him, left arm, top right of the box, microphone arm, select it, move it to the top right. Or I should say right here, because that's where his shoulder joint would be. His head to the bottom, and his face, you can make that also the bottom. Now, let's make him do a little funky dance. Bop. We're gonna go here, we're gonna hold shift, and we're gonna click all the way down here, and we're gonna press F6. Now, these are 2 separate frames. FNF characters start with their head down, so we're going to click the body, we're going to put your mouse right over the line, we're going to move it forward some, and we're going to move it down some, and we're going to apply the principle of squash and stretch by pulling it out some. Now we're going to move the arm outward some by pulling on the edge of a thing, on the edge of an object. You can rotate it, move it down some. Grab the head and the face by going to selection tool and selecting on the outer, click and drag to create a box and select both of them. Right click, free transform, and then move this. It'll reset every time, but you don't have to always do that. Move his head down some and rotate it down some. We're going to get his microphone arm. We're going to rotate it down some. I'm going to pull it out some. So now he's looking down. 4 frames over to check. There we go. Now, to create the next frame, when I click FNF idles are 2 frames. So 1, 2, and then on the 3rd frame, we're going to create a new uh, a new spot in the timeline for a new animation. We're going to press F6 again, and now in this one, we're going to pull him up some, squish, pull him up, and move him a little bit to the right. Now, on this one, we're going to move his arm up a little bit, move his head up a little bit, but actually no, we're going to move it down, pull it to the back some. Now, the microphone, we're going to rotate it downward and move it up some. There we go. Now, he has this little bit of a going up. We're going to go onto the frame 5, hold shift, click the bottom, F6. Now, this is where usually the body is done animating, and the back arm too. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the left body to get its layer. We're going to go here, hold shift, click to the end of this frame, right click, and press remove frames. Then press F5 to fill in those remove frames. And now his body is done. Now repeat for the back arm. Now for the rest of the animations, we're going to actually finish them to make them fulfill the frame as frame 9. For frame 5, remember to pull up the arm, but we're going to rotate it to the right some. We're going to start rotating the head up some and pull it up some. So now it's coming up. You can see it coming together. Now with the microphone arm, press F6. We're going to pull the arm up and we're going to try to get it in place. Remember, these two circles right here are for onion skinning. I recommend turning that on to see what you're doing, what you need to move it. So now I can move it to the back frame, and you can see the green is forward in time and the blue is back in time. But I usually don't use it, but I recommend it. Now, your arm should be going up. And now the head and the face, remember, click, click, remember hold shift, F6 for a new frame. We're just gonna pull it up some. Let's use onion skinning to get it kind of where the head is. And we're just going to turn it off. And now, remember, click at the end of this, hold shift to the bottom, and we're gonna press F5 a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're gonna make sure it ends on frame 14, because that's how long FNF idols are. Now we're gonna go to the back, we're gonna hit the loop icon, which is this, drag it out, and now we have a funky little man doing a funky little idol. And that's the end of this episode of how to do the animation. Now, to make more animations, you would want to click out of it and make sure to extend this frame as long as you want if you want to see the whole idol. Because this is our original stage. And you can see, there he is, and I can move him around. He's alright. Still funking away to his heart's content. But what if we wanted to create more? Well, you would extend the timeline, and I would press F6, and I usually do the frame animation to different frames, but you don't have to. To make it simpler, click on him, Control C, or right click and copy. We're going to Control V, and we have two of him now. We're going to right click him, select duplicate, we're going to name it Billy Down. And we're going to, for these frames, we're going to F6 so we have a whole row. And we're just going to reuse his downs, the down bit of his idle. So that's up to 6. We're going to right click here, select to the end of it, right click, remove frames, and press F5 to fill those in. Press it a couple times. Now he goes down and goes up, so it has this little squash up. So now it's just these frames. That's not how normal people usually do down, but this is just for an example. So now, if I were to put the looping on the whole thing here, you can see how this one's the idle animation, and this one is just him doing down. Probably not the best example, but to prove it to you, just gonna make him squish a little bit more, just to just tell for the noticeable difference. So now we have much bigger squish, and to create a new face, right click, but make sure it's on the end here. Right click his face, duplicate symbol, and we can name it whatever we want, but we're just gonna do Billy face down. We're gonna open it up. Oops, hit the head, open it up, and we're just going to make his mouth an O. Click on the mouth, delete to delete it. We're just gonna make it an O. Now, within this, we're just going to fill it in with black. Actually, to make it a little bit better, I'm gonna fill it with this really dark gray in the color switcher here. Now, want to go back into these symbols, right click and press swap symbol. And you'll bring up every symbol that you have. Click Billy face down and then OK and repeat. Now he's doing an O. Now click out of it and now as you can see he's doing an idle and now he has his O animation, which is his down animation. And you can see in the hierarchy of the library where you can see it's all organized, but you can see Billy idle and Billy down. Both as their own little animations. And when you're ready to export, right click them, just make sure you select them all like that. You don't need the parts, but you want to hold shift or hold control, click Billy idle and Billy down, or whatever the other animations you made with Billy, or any animation you made with any character really. Right click, generate sprite sheet, and this menu will pop up. Now, what you want to set it to, is you want to make sure all this stuff is here. Set it to auto size. Make sure the image format is PNG 32-bit. No background color, so it's a line strike through. The algorithm is basic. And the data format, this is important. You want to make sure it is selected at Sparrow v2. Make sure trim is on to trim as many frames as possible. And stack frames. This will stack repeated frames seen in other animations to make your sprite sheet even more concise. You can change the border padding to whatever you want, but I usually have it set to 8. You want to have it set somewhere, but for this tutorial, we're just going to have it go to my psych engine, mods, images, characters, and we're going to name him Billy. And we're going to press Billy, make sure you didn't get rid of the dot, and press export. And now he's exported along with the sprite sheet. So that is end of this tutorial of tutorial 1 with Billy. It's now, as you can see, Billy is funkin' away to his heart's content. Oh, and I forgot to mention, to save the file, press Ctrl S and save it to whatever location you want.